Hello everyone, glad to be here to spend some time with you. Tonight it may be a little bit elaborate or a little bit long. I don't know how long it'll be because I'm responding to an email from a friend of ours who has gone through some real emotional hardship, and we together, with your good strong energy sent towards everybody who is watching this or at one time or another will watch it, sending good energy to them so we can all help to show the importance of being free from all these emotional challenges and to enjoy what life has to offer, and not to have our eyes closed or focused on one small minuscule point of this life, which in comparison to the whole world and what it can offer, the life, what it can offer, is just not even noticeable. So we can encourage this friend of mine, ours, to pursue what life really has to offer and what the reality is, rather than living in his own memories and consciousness and things that really don't exist anymore. But together we're going to look at the letter he has sent me and see how we can communicate the truth and help him to see what he's going through in a different light than, and hopefully that will answer all of his questions that he has put in this email. First, let's free ourselves from these get up that we boys have to put on every time we go to work. Some of us. Either way. Okay, so bear with me tonight. I think it will be probably useful to all of us, or all of you. The story is that our friend, which we will call him any name you like. We call him A, letter A. Means a friend. He writes me to say, okay, sorry that this letter is going to be long, and so we go from there and says, okay, then he says that he was in a serious relationship with a girl for 2 years, and then we took many small breaks because, you know, she asked for it or we decided to, and then we got to get back together, and that she always said that she's mine and she will prefer to be alone all her life if it's not with me, and she's with me, loves me, and so on and so on. And if she had a crush on someone, and then she would ask for a break to see what happens then with that guy, or if that crush will continue, but she eventually refused everybody and she only wanted to be with him. So right here I'm going to answer whatever I can, paragraph by paragraph, so it will be helpful to him when he's reading or looking at this video, rather than the whole thing at once. So right here I would like to tell him that, well, okay, she said that she wants a break and she eventually refused everybody, and she still came back to you, and she said that she wants to marry you and she doesn't want to be with any other partner in her life, and that she said that she only wants to be with you. Okay, fine, no problem. But what you're forgetting is that everything can change. From the time that somebody says something, things change, can change. But some of us, because we ourselves, you included, obviously, from the way I'm kind of receiving that message from you, from your character, some of us are very honest and honorable, and we stay on our words, and when we promise we stay on it. That's how we've been put together. right or wrong. That's not what we're discussing right now. But because of that, we also then tend to think that anybody who says anything to us, it's also forever. That they also will honor it as we do. Because human being usually tends to think of the others as he thinks of himself. If we are usually a good person, honest, punctual, emotional, loving, caring, kind, then we think everybody is like that. And that sometimes is good, and sometimes it doesn't let us see the reality, because we assume that other people are just like the way we are. So we expect from them to behave and react and act like we do in certain situations, or honor their words and so on as we would. And then when they don't, we go crazy. How could it be? Oh my goodness. Why? Because you didn't consider that when people say something, that doesn't necessarily mean they will stick to it forever. Things change, everything changes. Now, next paragraph, he says, so I have her image in my mind that no one will ever be able to replace me in her heart. And I felt really privileged for it. And I continued the relationship. So she took a break, she had a crush on someone, and then she comes back and she tells him more good stuff, that I love you, nobody can replace you in my heart, and so on. So he continues with her with all these beautiful words. And he feels that he is privileged that she's with him. The question here would be, respond to this couple of lines, why privileged? Why privileged? When you feel privileged about being with someone, then that means you don't think of it as they're two people and they're equal. You think that she's doing you a favor. She's better than you. She's far more than you can ever be or you deserve. Because then it means you think she's a god. And that is then when you expect her to think like a god. Fairly, properly, and stand by her words, and other godly attributes that you think a god would have, you would expect her to also be like that, because you already thought of it, put it in your mind that you're privileged, which without knowing, you're actually telling yourself, you're placing her in your consciousness as something extraordinary than what you would deserve, and as something on top of a pedestal, and you are now so happy because it's a privilege. Well, that tells me you're a very wonderful, kind person. But it also means that you're giving too much attention and worth and value to someone who hasn't shown you that it is a privilege to be with her through 10, 20 years of her life. You're just giving it to her for whatever reason. You need to think of her that she's so good. And usually, or sometimes, that is because you think of yourself, you're so special, that you deserve the best. So if you are not with the best, you tell yourself she's the best. You make her God, so it will make her so wonderful, which you would feel then more important, because you expect to be with someone like a God, then you make her to be a God, so you will feel better about yourself. Well, you don't need that. You don't need that shit. You don't need that kind of thinking. Bear with me, I'll tell you what you should be thinking. I may be a little bit serious in this email because I hate to see my friends or my sons, I consider many of you, if you're of the right age, like if you're my son. And I don't like that you guys put yourself down. I like you to treat a woman properly, with kindness, love, and respect, but at the same time, I want you to treat yourselves with kindness, love, and respect. It just has to be equal. So, I may be serious, but because I want you guys to understand your own value and worth and stop being such pussies. Pussy in the way of cat, not a bad, inappropriate word. You know, pussycat, meaning so just think of yourself little. No, or fearful. Okay, now, he also mentions, and I was very much attached to her emotionally, and she was the only world for me. Oh my goodness. I would love to say your word here and give you a couple of beating with a stick on your head. But in your case, I wouldn't choose a nice small stick. I will take a whole trunk of a tree and bash you on your head, and maybe that will jog you and to realize who you are. Nobody can be anybody's world unless it is your child. Unless 30, 40 years of faithful, positive marriage has passed. Even then, world is a world and is made up of so many wonders and wonderful things. Not one thing can be a world. If someone's wife is considered to be his world, then what about the children? If the children are the world, what about the wife? What about yourself? What about your mother, father? So nobody and nothing should be representing the world all by itself. So the question is, why is one person becomes the world? She cannot cure a common cold or grow plants with her thoughts. Why should she then deserve to be the world for you? You just like to think of her that way. You like to give her that echelon, that level, because it also represents you to be having someone that high up and mighty, which makes you feel high and mighty. So it has a little selfish motivations which we don't understand sometimes when we pay so much respect and love and attention to someone and consider her to be the world and the mighty and the god and queen. And what for? Just because she's a woman and we are accustomed to love and respect a woman? Or just because what, we get that emotional support from her, or that sexual relationship that we all need, and we think because she's the one that we have that relationship with, then therefore she must be the god. Or she's so important. No, she's important, yes. Respectful, yes. Must be treated right, kind, respectfully, fairly, properly, protected, yes. But so would you. Nothing short than what you treat her, you should treat yourself. Goes both ways. If there are girls listening, watching this, it's the same thing. Don't make your guy like it to be too much. It should be even, equal. Now, so next part, he says, hardly believe that I will be able to survive without her, because she has always showed or made me dream that she will be mine, or else she will be single forever. So I was pretty confident and attached to her. Well, I can understand what you're saying. And it is very possible, why not, when she said that, she meant it. But the thing is, people say things and she may actually mean it. So we don't want to say anything about her that she lied or she didn't mean it. Or we don't want to deal with that sort of thing. We actually say, yes, sure, she meant it. She was truthful about it. But people change. Times change, a little plant, when you put the seed in the ground, it doesn't stay like that. There's a little stem coming out, leaves coming out, it'll get bigger, it changes. Every stage and every once in a while you see there's a change in the plant. Human beings the same, physically and mentally. So when they say something so wonderful, so nice, they mean it. But through the time, maybe they change. So don't expect what they say to be the word of heavens, you know, the only thing that they should always believe. Everything in this universe changes, so her words changes too. So you can't believe anyone until they have performed it. So she says, no one but you, I will always be yours. You're attached to her and you believe she will be yours forever, and she doesn't want to be with anybody else, only you. Well, great. But until she performs it, she delivers that promise, you enjoy the beauty of that promise. But you cannot believe as if it has happened already or delivered. So next time if somebody says something beautiful to you, accept it, enjoy it, thank him, be appreciative, and maybe reciprocate and give the same feelings back if you feel like it. But don't get stuck on it because it hasn't been delivered yet. So if you guys got married with someone who talks like this and a few years passed, then you can start maybe see if you can believe that. I'm not saying don't believe people who say nice things to you, but I'm saying don't think that it cannot be changed. Therefore, your expectation is ready and won't be shocked later on if something changes. You also mentioned in your letter that, but one day suddenly she asked me for a short break in our relationship and assured me again that she will be again in a relationship with me only, and no one will be replacing me in her heart. How many times did you hear that from her? I mean, where has your brain been all this time? Obviously, you didn't have much blood up here and your blood was somewhere else, which you couldn't really think that this is happening too often. She wants a break, she has a crush with someone, then she comes back and she says, I'll be yours forever. And you, being so nice and kind and wonderful person, you believed it. Why? Because you decided that you love her. But what is your criteria for loving someone? Do you have any criteria? You should say, I want this person with these characteristics, this kind of way of thinking, this kind of way of standing on her words, this kind of promising, this kind of delivering, this kind of behavior. You can't just like someone because she makes you feel good. That's one part of it. But what other things she's offering to make you trust that feeling will stay? Obviously, she's been showing you that she's wishy-washy. I don't know how old she is, but obviously I think you're in university and she must be the same age. You're in your early 20s. And at that time, a woman really doesn't know what she wants. So you can't really take everything she says seriously. You yourself at that age, you really don't know what you want. You think this is the girl or that is the girl I want. But you will change, time will change. You're in the time of your life in the early 20s that you will change constantly. So you can't really believe everything that you say to some girl either. Maybe you would. I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about in general. So, and then you continue and you say, so I gave her a break and slowly after 15 days she started dating other guys. And she called me and asked me to forget about all those promises made. Well, hallelujah. Before I got to this paragraph, when I first read your first and second paragraph, I knew this may probably have happened because you simply set yourself up to believe everything, and then when things weren't going the way she had promised, you were shocked. Of course, anybody would be shocked because you made yourself believe. You made a God out of her, you made a gospel out of her words, and you made credible sentences coming out of her mouth, and you believed everything. So when you see it's not, then you, of course, you go crazy. You go shocked. Everybody would. It's not just you. So I still forget about everything and every promise that I made. Hearing this, you say in your letter, I couldn't believe But after a couple of days, when I saw her kissing and hugging other guy in front of me, then I shattered into pieces. Well, you shattered into pieces because you allowed your glass that you're made out of to be a thin glass. You must treat yourself in such a way as an unbreakable, unshattering glass is treated in the manufacturing plant. They heat it in such a way, they create it in such a way that this glass, when it's battered or punched or hit, will not shatter. But you created such a condition in your mind about this girl that what you saw she's doing, it was unbelievable to you. Why? Why do you make God out of someone that when they do something which is not godly, you go crazy on? Yeah? Well, that was your mistake. But you thought of her as a soul who is feeling with her heart. But she was of the earth, as every other woman is. Every other man is. We all are. So we are made out of soul and body. Mind and body. Our spirit, our soul, our heart, our energy, and our physical body. And they each have needs. But you thought of her as the soul only, who is feeling with her heart, and what she says is coming from the depth of the universe with such credibility and light that there is no shadow of doubt in it. That's how you thought of her. You forgot that she's from the earth and is obviously expecting to follow her days and days of life and see what else is there other than you. You thought she's not. Every human being does that until they finally find what you're looking for, which would be obviously shown by their behavior and the arrangements they make, and they stick with it and so on and so forth. But you just thought of her as a saint. When we do that about a woman, then we get destroyed when we see it's not. But she never was. You made her to be like that saint in your mind. Then you say, I was very much attached to her emotionally. In my subconscious mind, it was assumed that she will only be mine, as she used to say it always. Well, as I mentioned before, they will always try to blame you. Yeah? Because this time apparently she has said that I can't be with you because you're too emotional. I mean, I guess in the next paragraph she says that. And so that means they will always find something to blame you when they want to go. So don't think that you did anything wrong. You did nothing wrong. One of your problems right now is that you go through your head and say, what did I do wrong? If I would have done this, it wouldn't be this. Maybe that day I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I should have given her more time. Maybe I shouldn't have given her. Stop that. There is nothing you did do wrong. I assure you. You know, I feel sorry for you guys because I went through all this shit through my young ages. And I've had similar things, and eventually I learned that it's good to be balanced, not to give too much credit that way or this way. But we make them to be something so special, then we're shocked when things don't work out. Remember, you know, they have the more people following them than they would follow us while we're young, because we don't think much of ourselves, because we only think physically, and we think, well, our physics is a male physic, but their physics is so beautiful. Well, we are also beautiful to them as they're beautiful to us, but they don't go by the way we look necessarily, but we go by the way they look. So we think, oh well, they're so much better than us, and that's the beginning of the mistake, the whole thing. Now let's continue. So they'll always find something to blame you for it, for their own indecisiveness, or for their own shortcomings, in qualities or in promises. But since they're never sure of anything, most of them, not all of them, then they keep, then she kept you and tried to see what else is out there. You know, that's what she did. She was indecisive. But because she was indecisive, she kept you, and then she also tried to see what else is out there. And then you forget that she was a human, and she is a human, and not a god. And she knew it herself, that she's not a god. But you had made a god of her in your mind, and that was a big difference. You didn't think of her as a normal human being, but she knew she's a normal human being. She's after what a normal human being would be. But you had made her into something that you were surprised with any changes she would make or this final decision. But it's not your fault, this decision. It's her own problem that she couldn't see the quality of you, or she was looking for something else. At that age, they're impressed by anything, this and that. So are you. If you give yourself a chance, you will see how many other beautiful girls, wonderful girls, better than her, are there. Now, you also say that after convincing and crying a lot, she told me that she cannot be with me because I'm emotionally weak. How come you didn't seem emotionally weak when she needed to be with you and when she didn't have anybody else? Suddenly you became emotionally weak? It's not your problem. It's the way she's using an excuse to go on with her thing, to put the blame on you. So she finds that. She saw you crying madly, so she assumed that you're emotionally weak. But she never saw that you were crying because of fear to lose her. Well, never be afraid of losing anyone, as your worth is not accumulated in them. So there should be no fear, but when you see your worth in them, or being with them is when you have worth, then you will become fearful to lose them. Not because they're so wonderful, so much better than you, but because you think that your worth is because of being with them and not because of you. So you allow your value and worth in your mind to be created for the reason that you're with her. So your worth goes out of you and becomes something else out there. Then you now want to hold on to that out there so you can feel whole. Oh, that's wrong. Your worth is inside. Okay. She told that I am not financially rich as compared to the guy that she's dating now. And this hurts me like, it kills me like hell. Till 2 years, she did not realize this. And now suddenly she's telling that I'm poor, so she ditched me. It's not because you're poor, it's not because you're rich, it's because of her own problems. But at least you can think of it this way. You must be, I mean, I always say don't compare yourself with anybody. But in this particular case, I just want to bring it to your attention that observe that she loved you even though you didn't have much money. And this guy that she's with, she says she has more money than you. So that means this guy has to have money for her to be with him. But you didn't have to have money for her to be with you, which means you're a far better person. You didn't need money for her to like you or love you. But the other one has to have money for her to like or love him. So that makes you a far better man, bigger man. Now you see, she was no God. Because God doesn't go for money or this and that. She was no God, or the quality you made her to be in your mind, she wasn't that quality either. You made her in your mind. The reality is that she is a human and was looking for an easy life and whomever offered her better financial possibilities, then she would have become interested in him. And so she has, which many girls do. It's not taking anything away from her, but I'm just trying to make you see how the reality of it is. So she liked you even though you didn't have money, but she likes this guy because he has money. So that makes you, wow, far bigger person. So you say she told that she can't be with same person for a long time, and she wanted to taste and enjoy the other guys, so she decided to ditch me. Okay, what about you? You should also be with other people too. What's wrong with that? Don't get stuck in there. But I was shocked, you say, because she really wants this, and that if she really wants this, and why the hell did she made me dream and said all those nice things to you? She suddenly changed her thoughts. Well, you know, why are you asking for reasons? People change. I mean, this is not an absolute universe to think that anything somebody does or says, it will always remain the same. She's a human being. She's young. She doesn't know what she wants. She's trying to see what's out there. But you've already considered her so wise and so know-it-all and so educated and so mature that now you're shocked with these kind of decisions. It's your own perception of her. It's a wrong perception. You just look at her what she is rather than perceiving about it. Well, at the time that she said all those things to you, she was perhaps truthful. But later when she wanted other things, then changed her mind. And everything changes in this universe, and she's no exception. And so she changed her mind too. It's no big deal. And you say, I stopped having food, and then after, you know, I became unconscious, I was depressed, I suddenly was unconscious for 5 hours, they took me to ICU, to hospital, and she didn't even come and see you. What does that tell you? That should be enough right there for you to say, in your mind, say, get the hell out of my life. I need someone who is really normal. But trying to get her attention by, you know, killing yourself or becoming unconscious or becoming so sad, and expect her sympathy for these things, it's not a good way to get anybody. You should not do that. Just say the truth. She wasn't of no good quality later on. Maybe at one time she was. She changed, so then I have no interest in her either. That's what you should think. Because she's not what you used to like. She's not what she used to be. And now that she is changed, then she's no longer what you liked. And so therefore, you should not be interested in that case. So you should tell yourself, well, she's not the same person that she used to be, and I used to like that kind of person. If she's changed, is not the same kind of person that I liked, then why should I like her? I'm not interested in her anymore. That's how you should think. So anyhow, it's 6 months past, you say, and you still can't get over it. And you say when you study, you can't, you know, focus. You are in the same campus, and when she sees you, she becomes touchy-feely with the boyfriend, and that kills you, and it makes you feel, you know, very difficult and very different and very upset, and you said it right, because in your consciousness, you're still thinking about what she said she can't be with anyone. But good. Let me read you what I wrote here as a note for you, so it'll not take too long. I said, yes, and also when you see her, you do not see her as she is, and you see her with your eyes, but with your mind you see her from your memory knowledge, and think of her as if she is still who she was in the past, And that is why you are shocked and you cry. Because when you look at her, you don't see the present time. You don't see her as she is. You see her in your mind. So you go in the past. But if you see her as the presently she is, and consider where she is and what she is doing and what she is doing with someone else, then you will see that she's not the girl you used to know. So you must not think what you see has the soul that you have of another person, of her. Let me say that again. So what I said here. So but if you see her at the present and consider where she is and what she is doing, what she's doing with someone else, then you see that she is not the girl you used to know. So you must not think that you see, what you see is the soul that you have. What? If the soul that you have of that person in your memory, which is the past. So when you see her on campus, you usually go to the past and you're not at the present seeing her as she is, but you see her with your eyes, but your time is no longer where you are, because when you think of her in the past, you're not there. You go to a different time, which she was different, and then you think this is her. And of course it becomes difficult and you cry. Because you think it is the same girl you used to know that is doing what she's doing. Because when you see her, you go in the past, you think of her, and then you think that what is in your memory is the same girl here, and that what is in your memory is doing what she's doing, and then that kills you. That makes you think, but she's not the same person. She's another personality, she's another woman. You should remember that. Now, let me see how long this has been. If it's too long, I'll stop here. Yeah, okay. I can stop here and make the second one. We will continue there. Okay. We'll talk to you soon. In that way, I also take a break.